Good evening, everybody. This is Mod 15, Project 5, Truman Elementary Case Study. What do I know about Truman? Well, what I know, they're a pre-K through 8th grade building. They're the largest school in the district with 700 kids. Only 15% are on free and reduced lunch, 5% are ESL. Principal has been there for 2 years. They are new to the building, but not new to the district. Tests show that Truman scores less on reading than math. There's regression in scores over time in the building. Parents have noticed scores and left negative comments on instruction. PTO is involved. This being said, a specialist has been called in for reading. Reading supervisor has been requested to observe. There is a grant opportunity available. Curriculum not aligned with recent research. They're using a basal reading program. Recommendations to get back on track. What do I need to know? What is the struggle with this building? Why can't we keep going? Why is there a decline in scores? Do the teachers understand what's going on? Are they understanding the methods? Are teachers even qualified to teach what they can? You know, you can pass a test, but that doesn't mean you're qualified to teach it. What is the student to teacher ratio? What is the school demographics? What do they have available for technology? Does the library have appropriate reading level books, developmental, advanced, etc., to keep pushing the ones who can read very well or help the ones who are struggling how to read? Staff knowledge of reading, instruction, and aware of scores. How are the other schools in the district avoiding this issue? You know, I need to figure that stuff out. Problem identification. Parents went to the PTO due to lower testing results. Students' scores decrease as they progress through Truman. They fall at or below the 50th percentile during this time. Specialist has identified some issues with the curriculum and teaching styles. Basal is used. Other methods of teaching are not concurrent or not effective. Whole group teaching is being used too much, not enough one-on-one or small group to contact for corrections. Grant possibilities to help acquire needed books, equipment for training help, teachers, and student success. More PLC time is needed to make changes suggested by the specialist. Proposed plan. With the community very interested and concerned, I would meet with the PTO soon and often. Schedule meetings with administration from other buildings to discuss their insight to the issue and what they would recommend. Because the other buildings are not having this issue. We are. Have a meeting with staff immediately to discuss the concern, what's being done to make the necessary steps towards improvement. Committee, curriculum, suggestions with reading specialists. All this can be figured out through talking to the staff. Provide staff with substantial professional development time to learn the new format, adapt the format, live and learn by the format suggested by the committee. Create committee to explore new teaching strategies as well as new curriculum, as our current one is not fitting the bill and possibly being one of the main reasons why our students are falling behind. You know, I would say maybe it's the type of kids we have in the building, low income, etc., but I can't gather that from the information. As far as the committee, there'd be members be myself, selected staff, department heads, team leaders, a few members of PTO, staff from other schools that are having success, as well as the reading supervisor, just to make sure we're all in line with what we need to do as far as teaching or reading. More support staff, or do we have enough paras? You know, with a building of 700 kids, I don't know what the classroom breakdown is. Is it 25 to 1, 33 to 1? These are questions that I can't answer. Must have a small committee to work on the grant proposal, preferably people who have worked on grants previously and had success, so they know what needs to be written down to catch the committee's eye. We need PSC days for data breakdown for staff. They need to understand what is going on with our reading data and math data. Why is it looking the way it is? Where are we struggling? Parent meetings for students to discuss scores. Now, this can happen during parent-teacher conferences, or it can be one-on-one meetings, or parents and administration and a teacher meeting. Require more classroom time for studying spelling, phonemic and phonetic skills, and this might require schedule adjusting. or maybe some 10 minutes after school or something, just a little extra time to focus on this reading problem. Resolve the issue, promoting success all students. Form teacher teams, collect data, decipher data, present data. Helps identify the top learners, helps identify low-level learners. This will also help teachers understand how to work with the data and make it useful in lesson and curriculum planning. If you understand what is going on, you can adjust your lessons. Okay, this is stuff that teachers do. They know their audience, so they can adjust their lesson plans to accommodate these kids who are having issues. The only data provided showed the decrease of learning as well as other schools improving their skills. I will use recommendations provided have one or more one-on-one or small group settings for the students. Align the curriculum to the current standards or above current standards. PLC time, provide instruction to staff of new changes for direction of the students and staff, and work on delivery of their topic or their instruction information. You know how to teach. Find a way to teach it so the kids understand it. That's why we're the professionals. The grant for resolution here. Provide infrastructure. This is what the grant will provide for important purchases for development. Computers, books, paper, notepads, anything, overheads, any type of technology, headphones. All these things can help the kids learn how to read better. The grant would help that by giving us lots of money. Explore the reading program, research-based. Okay, what is going on with the reading program? What else do we need to do to it? What can we do to make it better? And this brings in more training. The staff is behind, they need help, so PLC days, professional development days, all these days can be used for more training. Identify the students. We don't know anything about the students. All I know is free juice lunch and 5% are ESL. That tells me nothing about the kids. I need to know more demographics of the students. And then the schedule. Maybe they're only having reading 2 to 3 times a week. That needs to be something that needs to be had 5 times a week. Reading cannot be skipped every other day. It needs to be taught every day if they're not doing it right now. So we got to check the schedule. Debriefing the problem. What I was thinking was going on, we're letting down the kids. Bottom line, we're letting down the kids, the teachers, the administration, all staff, by not knowing, understanding, or knowing the data results. We are hurting the kids. So that is the first thing I wanted to address. We are not helping anybody out. I'm upset that the PTO had to show me the problem rather than seeing it myself. That shows lack of passion and work ethic from myself, the other administrators, and the other teachers in the building. We're not doing anything about it. Oh, big deal. We're just the norm for lower scores. Well, that's a bunch of garbage. So it's just us showing lack of passion. Other things that might be going on. Teachers are not collaborating or using PLC time wisely. They're not discussing their kids. They're sitting around drinking their coffee. They're not talking about different ways to teach students who they struggle with. We're not discussing the tests or other issues that might be going on. What direction is the school heading besides down? What is their vision for the school? Does the school have any type of plans for the future? If so, what is it? Or why isn't there one made? Is that principal not plan on staying there very long? Or do the teachers not invest anything into the kids? There's just too many questions there. Is there parent surveys passed out? Do the parents get a survey, email, piece of paper, snail mail, something to get a feel of the school? Does their kid feel safe in the school? Does their kid feel like their teacher cares about them? Are you happy with the way that things are going in this building for your child? These are all things that can be answered in a parent survey. Some other unresolved issues. What is going on with the grant? Is it being pursued, scrapped, or is it in the process? Are we wanting this thing or not? So if so, what are we doing about it? We need more student data, ethnicity, income, homelessness, the list goes on and on. These are all standard things we need to know. Was FERPA used or implied? We got to protect the students when it comes to all this test score that's going to be floating around. Okay, we got to make sure we keep the names under wraps, because if we let out a name of a student on a test score, we are in big trouble. We need more communication with home, more communication with staff. You know, weekly emails, weekly Weekly Words is what we had in our building. It's great. It's district website, school website, Twitter, Facebook, all these things can help with communication. Has there been previous training for reading? Are teachers going rogue and avoiding the methods they have taught? Because this is not a new thing to happen. You get showed a new technique in a PLC or a PDC, Professional Development Day, and you're like, I ain't doing this stuff. So are teachers doing that right now? Now, if you come with a new plan, will teachers be receptive? If not, what will I do? Well, it's simple. First thing I can do is put them on an improvement plan. Then, fill out the paperwork. And if they still continue to refuse to do what's asked of them, sadly say, we'll find another role or we'll terminate them and find somebody who is highly qualified, highly motivated to come in and teach these kids. How I engage my parents and community. Using the PTO meetings to get to know parents and community members. Listening to their concerns, offering my suggestions, offering my ears so they could bend it so they can talk about what is going on, how they're concerned. And it's great to have a PTO. Keep community up to date as far as keeping steps to improve our kids' scores. I wouldn't talk of a teacher performance that's asked for trouble. I would talk about the PLC time and the extra time the staff is putting in to make sure the results are better for our children. Better communication with parents. Again, I'm mentioning email, newsletters, Twitter, Facebook, snail mail, whatever it takes to get the family, parents, guardians involved so they know what's going on. School district and website up to date. It has to be kept up to date. It has to be so the parents can look at it and say, oh, we got map testing next week. Oh, we got reading testing next week, etc., etc., etc. We need test windows. We need links for building results, etc. So we can see where we're building scores, not individual scores. That can be caught during, parent-teacher conference. Using the data, I use knowledge of the grant to share the information. We're taking steps to try and acquire it. People see that we are trying to acquire money to make our students better. It shows that we're doing something to help our kids. Support teachers with professional development and trainings. Find substitutes, make the teachers go to professional development. PLCs every Wednesday, make sure something is done every Wednesday, not just have a fluff day or a work day. Okay, we need to make sure that every day we have is not wasting time. And again, time at the school website, they have a tendency to lapse in their data, so we need to make sure it stays up for information, release communication with teachers and administration. Ours, you can email a teacher by clicking on the school they're in. You can find anything you want, find their email address at least, and go from there. Knowledge, policies, and laws. After getting students identified, we can speak of IEPs, 504 plans, and steps need to be taken to help these students while protecting them, protecting their names and data. We're talking about FERPA again. Use communication to keep families updated about overall school scores compared to state standards and so on. School websites or email would be a great way to share this, or share the state website that you can use to find out this data. Applying for the grant. When the grant is awarded, I will share what is being done via the grant, via the website or snail mail or on the news or on the radio, something so the parents and family committee members, anybody that's invested in this school knows that we are doing something to try to make things better. When discussing about policy change or direction of teaching methods are presented, a meeting with the group would be my first choice. If not, emails would be used, CC those involved, Skype if need be, or conference calls. I would need to rebuild the relationships with parents and community. They're kind of untrusting of us right now. More communication, more involvement with the home life, that always helps. The parents are there understanding what's going on. Some other things that I can do is create a Twitter or Facebook page for updates, continually monitor them, and add information as need be, keeping the school website up to date again. Thanks again for listening to my presentation. Very interesting stuff, and yeah, I'd agree with Mr. Cargela. This is going to be very helpful when it comes time to figure out how to handle these issues. Great assignment. I appreciate watching everybody else's stuff, so thank you and have a good evening.